Did anyone ever truly prepare you for what life after 80 would feel like? Not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, and even spiritually. We grow up hearing that aging is a gift, that every wrinkle tells a story, that wisdom comes with the passing of time. And while some of that is true, there are things that almost no one talks about. Things that catch you off guard when you hit your 80s. It's not just about slower steps or more doctor visits. It's about the quiet weight of change that settles into your days. It's about feeling like the world is moving just a little too fast and you're being quietly left behind. This is not a message of fear. This is a message of truth. Because truth has power. And the more we name what is real, the more we can face it together with dignity, with strength, and with choice. If you're over 80 or care for someone who is, this video is for you. We're going to explore 7 hard but honest truths about aging that most people avoid discussing. Not because they're shameful, but because they're deeply human. And in speaking them out loud, we create space for healing and for hope. If you have ever looked around and felt like no one understands what you're going through, know this: you are not alone. The realities you are facing are not signs of failure. They are signs of a life long lived. So let us begin. The first truth is the one that sneaks up quietly. It is the shrinking of your social world. Not with a bang, but with a slow fading. Friends move away. Some pass on. Children get busier. Grandchildren grow into their own lives. Your phone rings less often. Not because people have forgotten you, but because life pulls everyone in different directions. That circle of people who used to know you in your youth, who laughed with you at weddings and cried with you at funerals, begins to thin out. And it hurts, not always in loud ways. Sometimes in the silence between lunch and dinner. In the absence of a voice that used to call on Sundays. In the realization that fewer people truly know your story. You may be surrounded by people, but feel completely invisible. That is not your imagination. It is one of the quietest and most painful parts of growing older. But here is the part many miss. Even as old friendships fade, new connections are still possible. They just require more intention. A smile to the same grocery store cashier. A nod to a neighbor during your morning walk. A short conversation at a library or senior center. These moments matter. They stitch together a fabric of belonging. Not the same as before, but still real. Still valuable. If you have felt lonely lately, know that it is not a reflection of your worth. It is a signal to reach out in any way you can. Because someone, somewhere, is waiting for a connection too. And sometimes all it takes is one hello to break the silence. The second truth is the rebellion of the body. Not all at once, but in unpredictable flickers. One day you wake up and your joints ache in ways they never did. You get tired faster. Foods that used to bring you comfort suddenly upset your stomach. Sleep becomes elusive. You might lie awake at 3 in the morning, wondering if this is your new normal or just a passing moment. That inconsistency is what makes it so unsettling. You're not getting sick. Your body is simply changing the rules and forgetting to tell you. This unpredictability can wear you down. It is not just physical, it is emotional. It is the exhaustion that comes from adjusting every plan to match your energy. From wondering if your legs will hold up through the grocery store. From calculating whether to take the stairs or wait for the elevator. These are not small decisions. They are daily negotiations with a body that once served you without question. And yet you still move forward, still find ways to adapt. That is not weakness. That is resilience. And in that resilience lies quiet strength. Creating small routines can help. Drinking warm water first thing in the morning. Stretching gently before bed. Taking in sunlight, even if just for a few minutes. These acts are more than health tips. They are messages to your body that say, I am still with you. I still care. You're not alone in this fight. And that partnership with your own self can make all the difference. The third truth is perhaps the hardest to explain. It is the emotional cost of outliving the people you love. After 80, it becomes more common. You say goodbye more often, sometimes to friends, sometimes to a spouse, sometimes even to a child. And the grief does not always come in loud sobs or public tears. Often it comes in stillness, in the moment you reach for a second coffee cup out of habit, in the way your home feels just a little too quiet in the afternoon, in the memories that no one else remembers but you. There's a kind of loneliness that goes beyond being alone. It is the loneliness of memory, of being the only one left who knows what happened in 1965, who remembers the jokes, the smells, the way your mother laughed when you came home from school. That kind of loneliness can feel like a ghost walking beside you. Not harmful, just ever-present. And no one warns you how heavy that can be. But here is the truth. There is beauty in being the one who remembers. There is honor in carrying the stories of those who came before. When you share those memories with someone younger, when you tell the stories out loud, you're giving life to the past. You are passing on something irreplaceable. Do not underestimate the value of your voice, because it is through your stories that legacies live on. The fourth truth is the quiet erosion of independence. Even if you're sharp, even if you can still cook, clean, and take care of yourself, people start treating you like you cannot. Your children mean well, but suddenly they're making decisions for you. They start questioning what you eat, when you sleep, how you spend your money. You hear phrases like, "just let me handle it," or "you should not be doing that anymore." And it stings, because it feels like the world is forgetting that you are still capable, still thoughtful, still you. This shift can be subtle. One day you're making your own plans. The next day you're being informed of them. And even though it comes from love, it feels like a quiet erasing of who you are. It makes you feel smaller, less in control. But here's the truth that no one says out loud. Setting boundaries is not selfish. It is necessary. You have the right to speak up, to say thank you for caring, but I can do this, to explain that your choices matter, that your voice still counts. Because when people listen, trust grows. And when trust grows, your dignity remains intact. Sometimes it is about compromise. Let them help where it makes sense. But hold on to the parts that define your independence. The meals you cook, the music you play, the shows you watch. These are not small things. They are part of your identity. And your identity does not disappear with age. It evolves, but it remains yours to protect. The fifth truth is the shrinking world of freedom. Not just because others take charge, but because you start pulling back too. Driving becomes more stressful. Crowds feel overwhelming. Nighttime outings feel risky. You start weighing every outing with a careful eye. Can I get there easily? Will I find parking? What if I get tired halfway through? And slowly, without realizing it, your world becomes smaller. Your home becomes both sanctuary and cage. You want to go out, but the effort feels too great. This is where many older adults begin to feel trapped, not by force, but by fatigue and fear. The fear of falling, the fear of getting lost, the fear of not being able to get help. These fears are real. They are not irrational, but they do not have to rule your life. There are ways to navigate them. By planning ahead, by accepting help when needed, by building small adventures into each week, even a short walk to the park, even a conversation at the pharmacy. These small acts keep your spirit alive. They remind you that the world is still out there waiting, and that you still belong in it. That if you're finding this video meaningful so far, please take a moment to comment below with your thoughts or simply say I'm here. Knowing you are part of this conversation helps more than you know. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to stay connected. There's so much more to share. The sixth truth that quietly reshapes your life after 80 is the emotional cost of watching the world change without you. It is more than just people moving on or loved ones passing away. It is the feeling that the rhythm of the world no longer matches your steps. You hear new music that doesn't speak to your soul. You see technology evolve faster than your ability to keep up. Places you loved close down. Traditions you held on to fade away. And even the values that once felt universal start to shift. The world moves forward, and sometimes it feels like it forgets to bring you along. You may sit at the dinner table with younger generations and feel a growing distance. The conversations are different. The priorities feel foreign. The memories you share are greeted with polite nods, but no real understanding. And that hurts. Not because they mean to dismiss you, but because they haven't lived long enough to understand yet. They don't see the depth behind your silence or the meaning behind your gaze. You're not just older. You're carrying decades of history inside of you. But the world often only sees your age, not your experience. This can lead to a deep internal conflict. You feel relevant in your own mind and heart, but irrelevant in the eyes of society. This is where many older adults begin to retreat, not because they want to, but because the world no longer feels built for them. But here's the truth. You still have something the world desperately needs. Perspective, patience, presence. These are qualities only time can teach. And your voice matters more now than ever. You are a bridge between generations, a keeper of values, a teacher of what it means to live fully through the storms and still show up with grace. The seventh and final truth may be the hardest one of all. It is coming face to face with your own fragility and mortality. For much of your life, even as you aged, you could push through. You could recover. You could bounce back. But after 80, the body sends stronger signals. A simple cold takes longer to shake. A bruise takes weeks to heal. A stumble can change everything. And for the first time, you might find yourself truly facing the question, how much longer do I have? That awareness is not just physical. It touches every part of you. It can make you question your routines, your priorities, your unfinished dreams. It can bring regret, sorrow, even fear. But it can also bring clarity. When you realize that time is limited, you start to see what really matters. The small joys, the real connections, the moments of peace. You begin to let go of the things that once seemed so important but no longer hold weight. And in that letting go, you find a different kind of strength. There's a quiet power in facing your mortality with eyes wide open. It allows you to live more truthfully, to speak more boldly, to love more freely, to forgive more quickly, because there's no time left to waste. You deserve to wake up each day not with dread, but with the fierce determination to make the most of it. Not by doing more, but by being more present, more honest, more grateful. This stage of life is not about giving up. It's about embracing what's left with everything you have. You may move slower, but your insight is deep. You may forget small things, but your wisdom is sharp. You may cry more easily, but that means your heart is still open. And that, in itself, is a miracle that if you are watching this and these words are resonating with you, please know this. You are not forgotten. You're not too late. You are not invisible. You are still here. And that is everything. Your life, as it is right now, still holds meaning, still holds possibility, still holds the potential for J-O-Y.S. Oh, what can you do with these truths now that they've been spoken aloud? Start small. Speak up when something doesn't sit right. Reach out to someone today, even if it feels awkward. Allow yourself to grieve without shame. Embrace help without guilt. And remind yourself that aging is not a failure. It is a journey, one that very few are blessed to walk this far. Every wrinkle is a line of poetry. Every scar a story. Every gray hair a piece of wisdom. The world may not always understand the beauty of this stage, but you do. And by honoring it, you teach others to do the same. You teach them how to age with grace, how to live with intention, how to love with depth. And for those of you who are younger, listening with an open heart, let this be your reminder. Aging is not something to fear. It is something to prepare for, emotionally, spiritually, relationally, because someday these truths may be your own. And knowing them now means you can carry them with compassion instead of shock. You can walk alongside your elders with more empathy. You can plan your life not around staying young forever, but around staying human always. Let me leave you with this. Aging after 80 is a path not everyone gets to walk. If you're on that path, you are a rare and sacred soul. You have seen more sunrises than most. You have loved through more seasons. You have endured more than anyone will ever know. And you're still here. That deserves celebration. That deserves respect. That deserves to be seen take today and do something kind for yourself. Drink your tea slowly. Sit in the sunlight. Call a friend. Watch a bird land on the windowsill and know that life is still happening around you and within you. It is not over. It is just different now. If this video touched you, please let us know in the comments. Say I'm here. Share your favorite part. Tell us your story. You never know who needs to hear what you have lived. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing. We are building a community where aging is not hidden but honored, where your voice is not dismissed but uplifted. And while we've spoken about the truths that many face after 80, there's one more silent truth that often goes unrecognized: the challenge of staying mentally resilient when the world treats you like you're done contributing. There comes a point when people stop asking for your opinion, stop inviting you into new ideas, stop expecting growth from you, and that slowly erodes your sense of purpose. No one says it outright, but the message is clear. You've done your part, now step aside. That message, even when unspoken, sinks deep. It can make you question whether you still have something meaningful to offer. It can make you second-guess your thoughts, your instincts, your voice. But here's what people forget. Just because you're older doesn't mean your mind has stopped growing. Wisdom doesn't retire. Insight doesn't age out. And life certainly doesn't stop presenting opportunities to learn, reflect, and contribute. Many people after 80 find themselves yearning not just for company or comfort, but for challenge. You want something to engage your thoughts, something to stimulate your imagination, something that reminds you that your mind is still sharp in its own beautiful way. Whether it's reading something thought-provoking, learning a new skill slowly but steadily, or mentoring someone who's just beginning their life's journey, your brain craves engagement. It longs to be useful. And in this phase of life, staying mentally alive is just as important as being physically well. How do you keep your mind awake when the world expects you to fade? You claim your space. You find topics that excite you, even if they're small. You take time to write down memories, share stories, or even keep a journal. You listen to podcasts. You explore spiritual ideas that bring you peace or curiosity. You stay curious about the world, even as it rushes past you. And perhaps most importantly, you give yourself permission to be more than what people expect from someone your age. You are not limited to crossword puzzles and old television shows unless that's what you love. You can still shape new thoughts, build new habits, start new projects. The only deadline is the one you believe in. Another reality that often weighs heavily is how society seems to underestimate the emotional intelligence and depth of seniors. Younger people often assume that because you've lived longer, you're somehow hardened or numb to emotions. But in truth, aging often makes emotions sharper, not duller. You feel more deeply because you understand the layers behind each feeling. You know what it means to miss someone long after they're gone. You know the joy of small gestures. You know the ache of being misunderstood and the beauty of forgiveness. The emotional world doesn't shrink with age. It expands in nuance, in texture, in color. Yet so many older adults feel dismissed in emotional conversations. People talk around them, not with them. They make assumptions that you've made peace with everything in your life, that you have no more questions, no more struggles. But your heart still beats with longings, regrets, hopes, fears, memories. And you deserve spaces where those emotions are allowed, not erased. It's okay to cry over something from decades ago. It's okay to miss someone every day for the rest of your life. It's okay to wish certain things had turned out differently. The emotional journey doesn't end with age. It simply travels deeper. This is why emotional companionship becomes so vital after 80. Whether it's a friend, a pet, a community group, or a phone call with someone who genuinely listens, you need those connections that validate what you feel. Even just sitting in silence with someone who sees you can be a lifeline. And if you don't have those people yet, it's not too late to find them. It might take courage to reach out, to start again, to admit you still need closeness. But that vulnerability is not a weakness. It's a profound strength.